Hi, I'm Robert Rubin, and this is Ultratech, and we're here to do a demonstration of the FTTx Portable Polishing Machine. I'm going to go through the description of the polisher. I'm going to go through air polishing. I'm going to show you how to set the machine up for the proper pressure, and then I'm going to show you the polishing process. So, let's go through the description of the machine. We have the polisher itself. On the polisher, you have a knob here for your dwell setting, so you can set your different timed positions for the polishing cycle. This is the on-off button, which will start and stop the machine for the polishing process. On the top here, we actually have the head, which is on a micrometer. It actually, if you turn it counterclockwise, it's going to raise it above, raise it from the polishing surface. If you go clockwise, it's going to bring it towards the polishing surface. There's a lid that actually opens up nice and easy, right, where our platens, the parts that carry the polishing film, are placed. Okay, there's a setting stand, so the polisher can go into a setting stand, makes it easier to use at a bench top. We have connector holders. This is a 2-position. I know you have 4, but this is a 2-position. Again, we have 5 different resilient polishing platens. We save 1 platen for each polishing step in the process. We have a protrusion gauge, which is used to measure the protrusion of the ferrule. We have a water bottle and an alcohol bottle that we're going to use for cleaning purposes and for lubrication during polishing. We have something called Ultra Pol B suspension, which is only used on the final polishing step. And we have some lint-free tissues, which are used to clean and maintain the system. And that's the description of the polisher. Now I'm going to discuss with you how to air polish a connector. On the end of the connector, after it's been prepared, there's always a little fiber protruding through the end of the ferrule. What we're going to do is we want to air polish that nub off of the end of the ferrule, so when we load it into the machine, it doesn't break. How we do that is you take the connector and you hold it in one hand, take your first polishing step, which is a 9-micron silicon carbide, hold it in your other hand, and then you just stroke it in one direction, okay, until that fiber nub is removed. And you'll know it's removed because you'll stop getting these really deep lines. And then after a little bit, you can go in circles. You'll actually see, instead of it becoming like a score, like you're taking a knife to something, it'll actually come off. That's all you have to do for air polishing. Now we're going to do the machine setup. So I'm going to show you how to set the pressure for the connectors that you're polishing. Okay, you get the machine. We're going to open the lid. We're going to take our first polishing step on the resilient disc, place it into the machine. Again, it's a 9-micron silicon carbide. We're going to close the lid, and we're going to lock it with this lever right here. The next step is we're going to thread the work holder into the lid of the machine. So it simply just goes in and it locks. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this head and we're going to lower it until the bottom of this connector holder actually makes contact with the top of this pad. We call that a 0 position. You can follow along in the manual with this. So we close the lid and we're going to turn the head until it stops on top of that disc. And you'll know it because it won't turn any further. So we're now at a 0 position. I place it in the setting stand. I'm now going to place one of my connectors in the holder. Now here's something I like to do. I'll raise the lid, I'll turn this lever, and I'll set this down so it makes it easy for me to load the connector in. That way it's not touching that polishing surface. Lock it into place. Okay. Now I bring it out. Now we're going to take our protrusion gauge and we're going to measure the protrusion of that connector from the underside of this lid. So I set this down on the table. If this isn't at 0, simply just turn this side knob and you can turn the whole outside scale so you can line up that 0, as close as you can to that needle. Okay. Let's measure the protrusion. I'll place it directly over the ferrule, and we're at 48 thousandths of an inch of protrusion. We want 10 thousandths of pressure. So we're going to take that 48, we're going to minus 10, and that means we have to raise it 38 thousandths of an inch. Again, I'm leaving it on this lever here so it's not making contact. I loosen the retention knob on the side here, and I pick any point I want on the outside. These read in 10 thousandths of an inch each section. So I know a full turn is 40 thousandths of an inch. So I'm just going to go 30, and I'm going to raise it until that 30 comes around again. Okay, here's the 30, and then I'm going to go back 2 markings, and that gives us 38. We now have the correct pressure set. And then take this retention knob, and I'm going to lock this in place. That way, that pressure setting is set and maintained. You only have to do this pressure setting for the connector type that you're polishing. So if we're polishing Sam Charlie connectors for the whole day, the pressure setting's done. You will not need to set the pressure anymore. Lock it into place, and we're ready to go. Okay, now we're going to do the polishing process. So we've already set our pressure. We've got our film in place. We've got the pressure set. First step, no water. This is a dry step. Again, we're just removing the epoxy. Close the lid. Set your dwell setting for, anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds. It depends how much epoxy you have. So I'm going to set this one for 20. Okay, so what you would do is you would let that run for 20 seconds. Okay, I'm just going to go through this quickly so you can see how it works. Then what you do is you raise the lid, you take out your disc, and you can see it's making a mark, so it is removing the epoxy on the end of the connector. What you then do is you take a lint-free tissue, you put some alcohol on the end of it, and you clean the end of the connector. We don't want any of the 9 micron particles from the first step transferring to the 6 micron particles of the second step. You then get your next polishing step, which is going to be a 6 micron diamond. You use your alcohol again just to clean the film. Place it into the machine. And then we're going to use the water. And I'm going to bring this polisher over to you a little bit better so you can see. And what you do is you just put some water in a triangle pattern. That's plenty of water. Set it in the stand. Close the lid. This step is 30 seconds. And you let that run for 30 seconds. Okay, while that's running, what you do is you take another lint-free tissue and you clean the polishing film from your last step. Take a little alcohol. And when you're cleaning, you always want to start in the center and work in a circular pattern and move your way to the outside. That way it's ready for the next set of connectors to be polished. Okay, then I'm not letting it run all the way through because I want you to see how it works. Take your first step, second step out, clean the end of the connector, take your next film, place that in polisher. This is now a 3 micron diamond. Put some water, close your lid. This is also 30 seconds. You let that run for 30 seconds. So we did a 9 micron silicon carbide, we did a 6 micron diamond, this is a 3 micron diamond. The next step will be a 1 micron diamond. Again, remove the platen, some alcohol on a tissue, clean the end of the connector, put your 1 micron diamond, which is your 4-step circular pattern, you clean the film, a few drops of water, close the lid. This step, the 1 micron diamond, is a 60-second polishing cycle. You let that run. If you haven't cleaned your polishing films for the previous steps, you can do that now. Always keep them in order, it makes things easy. When the 1 micron diamond step is done, take it out. Clean the end of the connector with some alcohol and a lint-free tissue. Get your next step. Now on this one, we do not use alcohol on the Ultra Film B. So you're going to clean it with water. You're going to put that into the machine, and I'm going to bring this over to you again So I want you to show you how you place the Ultra Pol B suspension. Again, same thing. Triangle pattern. That's plenty of Ultra Pol B suspension. Place it in your machine. Close the lid. This step's only about 10 seconds. And you run the cycle. And that's how you use the polishing process. Hope this was helpful, and please contact me if you need additional support.